This is 93 Million with Doug Andrew. Welcome to 93 Million with Doug Andrew, where we talk about how to optimize your assets, minimize taxes, and empower the three dimensions of your authentic wealth. My name is Greg Dukowitz, your host, facilitator, IUL enthusiast, and lover of good pancakes. And today we're going to talk about the hidden wealth killer, why traditional retirement plans like IRAs and 401ks fail, and what you can do about it. And we're joined by the godfather of properly structured IUL, New York Times bestselling author and the author of The Laser Fund, and great lover of technology gadgets, Doug Andrew. Welcome, Doug.
KOG. That's right.
The master of the Max Funded IUL, co-author of The Laser Fund, and a man who makes a mean evil skeever. Emron Andrew.
Ooh, I'm hungry. Let's go.
You got everybody Googling what's an evil skeever.
Kimchi.
And a man who is a technician of IUL, also co-author of The Laser Fund, and a man who loves a well-constructed spreadsheet, Aaron Andrew.
Yes, I do.
And our featured host for today, one of the top specialists at Laser Financial, a true entrepreneur and a lover of Star Wars, Scott Reynolds.
Hey.
Welcome, Scotty. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, excited for our show today. Let's jump into our first segment, breaking through the myth, the lie that you'll be in a lower tax bracket in retirement, and why that may not be true for you, okay? One of the most common myths is the belief that we'll all be in a lower tax rate when in retirement, and that we should act accordingly with things like IRAs and 401ks, which we'll talk about in the next segment. But what people are finding out is that it's not true for so many Americans when they retire. Doug, why is the idea of being in a lower tax bracket in retirement a myth that needs to be dispelled?
Oh, my heavens, yeah. I've been a retirement planning specialist for north of 5 decades now. And the only people that are in lower tax brackets are the ones that didn't save anything.
Right.
Okay, most savers are in as higher tax brackets as they were ever in during their earning years. So why? So many Americans go down the highway of life, so to speak, trying to achieve this destination we call financial independence. And unbeknowingly, they have one foot on the gas pedal and the other foot on the brake pedal. And they don't even know they're doing it.
That's not very efficient.
No. You know, the foot on the gas pedal, they're putting money in these tax-deferred accounts to some future perceived unknown advantage. And they have the other foot on the brake pedal, okay? See, most Americans, they want to pay off their house, so they kill that deduction. And during retirement, they're not contributing money to IRAs and 401ks, so they don't have that deduction anymore.
Right.
The kids are gone, but if they move back in as adults, you can't deduct them anymore, okay? And because of irresponsible government spending and the printing of money, most Americans believe that taxes in the future will likely be higher, okay? If you're a business owner and you sold your business, you don't have those deductions anymore. So here you are, you hit retirement, and now you've killed all your deductions, even if you had the same income. Most people pay as much or more in taxes during their golden years, and they were like, how was I so duped into being told, oh, you'll likely be in a lower bracket when you retire?
Right. Shocked, surprised.
Yeah.
Emron, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, like Doug said, I mean, it kind of comes in two parts for me. Like he mentioned there, I mean, so many times people are going down and, think about it. If you're shoving as much money as you can in these IRAs and 401ks, you're defer. What is that? That's procrastinating.
Yes.
When does procrastination really end up helping you, especially monetarily?
In high school with my tests.
Yeah, that's about it, right? That's about it. And then he talked about the second part, the deduction part. So not only are we procrastinating these taxes, waiting and end up probably paying at a future higher rate. Tax rates are probably not going lower. They're probably going higher, especially if we look 15, 20 years down the road. We might get a short-term, ease on some of these tax rates, but long-term, they're going up.
Yeah.
They're going up. And then our system is built so that you will lose. You will lose your 3 largest deductions when you retire. That's how our system was designed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Your mortgage interest, your children, and the biggest one that most people don't even think about, all of the contributions that you're making to your IRAs and 401ks right before retirement.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting. That's such a good point. Aaron, thoughts?
Yeah, just thinking about this, it's like my clients that are the happiest are those that are taking tax-free income in retirement.
Yeah.
So, I've got clients that are, got money from different sources, And of course, their favorite is when it's tax-free, because when you get to retirement, you don't want to be stressing about taxes, and people are worried that I'm not making money anymore.
Right.
I'm not producing to make income. I'm depleting these assets or living on them. So the last thing they want to worry about is taxes.
Right.
And paying a lot of taxes and worried about that.
And the threat of taxes going up when we're 36 trillion plus in debt, and it's going up $1 trillion every 100 days or whatever that's going to be. And the looming idea that taxes are going to skyrocket upward in the future is kind of scary when everything you have is kind of in that taxable element.
But I have a client, for example, that was in the highest bracket in his earning years.
Yeah.
And now he's in the lowest. Now, the only thing that shows up on his tax return is Social Security. And everything else, he's taking out $250,000 to $350,000 a year. He could take out more, but he's taking out that much money out tax-free
Wow.
out of the IUL laser fund strategy, because we moved things over, and now he's just
So
happy
he's
because
enjoying $400,000 of income, but he's in the lowest tax bracket.
That's great.
Lowest
So
bracket.
great.
It's like-
That's amazing.
only thing that shows up is Social Security on his tax return.
That
So
is
it's like,
that is incredible. And
Yeah,
it's
it's
not a
pretty
loophole, right? It's just
No.
it's all very well disclosed. So all right, let's get into our next segment. But first, just a reminder that if you enjoy this content and you want to see more of it, please like and subscribe. And if you'd like to ask us a question, please comment on this video and we may use your question in one of our next shows. It's a trap. Why the IRA and 401k tax trap catches millions of Americans in its web. That reference was for you, Scotty.
I love it. I love it.
According to the Federal Reserve, about 67%, 2/3 of American adults have some kind of qualified retirement account like an IRA or 401k. Doug, why can IRAs and 401ks or accounts like those become a tax trap?
Oh my heavens! So many people, like I said earlier, get duped, and so they get to retirement, and at retirement planning is something totally different than what you do for your retirement.
Right.
So when people would come to me at retirement, I would tell them to bring their after-tax IRA 401k statements.
Yes.
I knew they didn't have them, but they'd go, after tax?
Really?
I'll calculate it. They walk in and thump themselves on the chest. We saved $1 million in these IRA. I said, I have news for you. Only about 650 or 700,000 of that is your money. Or, the comical thing is, if they think they can take out, let's say, a 7.5% payout, they pull out $75,000 a year, and they have to pay between federal and state tax, maybe as much as a third, $25,000 in tax. They only net $50,000 to buy gas, groceries, prescription, and golf green fees. Okay,
Right.
Well, what if they need a net
Yeah.
of $75,000?
Nobody cares about the gross. We want the net.
Yeah,
Net.
and it's so funny because they pull out 75, and then, I got to pay tax at 25. Well, I needed 75, so they go back to get another 25. Okay, so they go get another 25,000. They pay tax of a third on that, and they have to go back again and go back and forth. Why
never
don't you
ending.
just tell me what I could have pulled out in the first place? 112,500
Wow.
is what you need to withdraw to net 75.
Yeah.
And but people are so shocked. Wait a minute. Nobody told me about this on the back end.
Yes. Yeah. That's amazing. Scotty, other thoughts?
Yeah, Uncle Sam is so benevolent. He's willing to let us wait to pay taxes on that money until later for some reason.
Yes.
I like to think of it like a pie, and that pie gets bigger and bigger as the years go by. Obviously,
Yeah.
I like pie. But
I love
you now get to use that pie or eat that pie when it's the biggest it's ever been, and Uncle Sam's going to get the biggest portion he's ever gotten to
Yes.
as well.
He
So-
dictates how much he gets before.
Yeah.
He gets to dictate out of that.
And he gets
Yes.
to change the rules while you're still funding it.
Okay, for people who confuse, Emran, expand on that. What do you mean he dictates that?
Well, you look at, again, we've said this many times before. IRA or 401k is not a sole proprietorship. It is a partnership.
Yeah.
And who controls the split of ownership? It's not us. The government gets to control that split of ownership.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I know in the last, we talked about it there in the last segment. You're not going to be a lower tax bracket. I remember a gentleman that attended one of our seminars years ago, listening, and he, came and met with me afterwards. And he's like, "Man, your dad's kind of a smart guy, but he got something wrong."
Shh, don't say that out loud.
Yeah. Well, but he got something wrong. He's like, "Look, I've been retired for 10 years. and I've been in a 0% tax bracket, and most of my money right now is sitting in IRAs and 401ks. And I'm like, so you've been paying nothing in taxes? Like, yeah, I've been paying little to nothing in taxes. I'm like, okay, so what have you been living off of? Money in my savings account, other accounts.
Very common, by
Right?
the way.
He's
Very
not, he
common.
doesn't want to
Very
touch
common.
the money
He's like,
that he's
I
worked so
control.
hard for.
Yeah, he's like, I control how much money I pull out of those. And I'm like, do you though?
Wow.
Okay, you're about to turn 70 and a half. At that time, 70 and a half was the RMD age.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what's an RMD? I'm like,
Oh, no.
A required minimum distribution.
no.
Find out.
So we went ahead on this analysis. He had built up a beautiful multi-million-dollar IRAs now, but all of a sudden,
No.
his required minimum distributions were now going to throw him up into a 30% tax
Yeah,
bracket.
because they would have been huge. With
Yeah,
that.
and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you can control that. If you don't want to pull it out, don't pull it out. And Uncle Sam's going to penalize you 50% plus the tax.
Oh.
His eyes just went big, and he's just like, well, I won't repeat what he said, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it was eye opening.
Uncle Sam is going to get hit.
It's a trap.
Yeah,
those
Uncle Sam is-
RMDs.
He is
it's a
going
trap.
to get his tax.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, he's going to get his tax.
and
Aaron.
he felt it.
I mean, what Emron's saying right there is that's what some of the biggest insights I think clients have when we meet with them is they're in their 60s, and so many of them are like not taking money out of their qualified accounts because they're like, I'm in a lower bracket right now, and they're wasting. They realize, oh, last year I could have taken money out in the 12 or 22% bracket,
Yeah.
and they've been not doing it. They're living on their savings or other
Right.
accounts because I can do the IRAs later. They
Yeah.
think.
They think.
And this is the other thing. They think that they have more money growing for them in their IRA. So I have more in there. It's going to grow to a bigger number. If I take it out and pay the tax, then I'm going to have a smaller number growing for me. That's one of the biggest myths as well with qualified accounts. Because if you take $100 and you have $100 growing in your IRA and it grows to 150, and you take it out, and you have a net of 100,000 of tax. You have to pay a third of it in tax. Well, that's what it would be. But if you instead you have money going into a Roth, and you do the math, it's the exact same numbers at the end of the day if you're in the same tax bracket.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same bottom line if you're in the same tax bracket today or later. You don't have more in there growing to a bigger number. You do, but you take a third off in the front end, or you take a
Right.
third off in the front end or the back end. It's the exact same bottom line.
Right. So why do so many people defer then? Why is that?
Well, because they're wrong. Honestly, they think
Yeah.
they're going to be in a lower tax bracket in retirement.
Yeah. And some might be.
Yeah, that's the thing, you guys. Is sometimes I meet a client occasionally, and they are in a lower bracket because they didn't save well.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
CPAs are trying to get them to save taxes now,
Right.
not later.
Because they look like heroes
Yeah.
right now.
Yep.
Yes.
And by the time you retire, the CPA's also retired, and he's already gone packed up, and so you don't have him to be like, wait,
You said
what happened here?
Yep.
Yeah.
And and who's behind perpetuating all this information? Oh, it might be that partner. It might be
Yeah.
that government that's kind of keeps on perpetuating all this information on mainstream media and everywhere else.
And asset managers love it too.
Oh, right.
We'll get into that next.
Yeah.
Just hang on to that comment. All right. If you're enjoying this content and are wondering how to take advantage of these ideas, how to take control of your financial future and get on the path to lasting wealth, at Laser Financial, we help individuals and families like yours implement proven strategies to grow and protect your wealth. Strategies that don't rely on risky markets or high taxes. One of our most popular tools is the Index Universal Life Policy, or IUL. It's not just insurance, it's a tax-free retirement strategy, a way to grow your money with compound interest and a safety net against market downturns. Imagine this. During retirement, your money grows when the market goes up, but when it drops, your principal stays protected from those market downturns. And because IUL strategies can be structured for tax-free income, you get to keep more of what you've worked so hard to save, like we were just talking about. Whether you're planning for retirement or looking to secure a financial legacy for your family, we can show you how IUL can make all the difference. Go to laserfinancial.com or call 801-505-0409 to schedule a free consultation and see how these strategies can work for you. Go to laserfinancial.com, 801-505-0409. Take the first step toward a brighter, more secure financial future today. This content is also brought to you by IUL Insiders. Hey, listen, if you're a financial professional tuning into the show and you're wondering how to expand your business working with Index Universal Life, or IUL, you already know that it's one of the most powerful tools in the industry. But let me ask you this. Are you leveraging it to its full potential? That's where IUL Insiders comes in. They've trained thousands of professionals like you to go beyond just selling policies. They show you how to build thriving, scalable businesses that set you apart from the competition. And in the next few weeks, they're hosting the IUL Challenge. It's a free 3-day event designed specifically for financial professionals who want to master the art and science of IUL. You'll learn proven strategies to market, design, and sell properly structured policies that deliver incredible results for your clients and for your bottom line. If you're ready to elevate your practice and scale your business, visit IULchallenge.com/93 to save your seat. Spots are limited, so don't wait. That's IULchallenge.com/93. Take your business to the next level. That's what we all want to do, right? All right, pay no attention to the fees behind the curtain. Why hidden fees and cost from market losses can be more devastating than you think. All right, according to a smartassets.com article.
Love that name.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, Scott. 401k plan administrators don't disclose or itemize fees on 401k statements. Let me say that again.
Huh.
401k plan administrators usually do not disclose or itemize fees on 401k statements. Emran, why don't they? Why don't they disclose fees on 401k statements? And how much does like a hidden 1% fee, how much of an impact can that make over a lifetime?
Right. I mean, I think the number one reason why they probably hide them is because they might be fired if they should reveal them, right? We might fire them all.
Nobody likes to see fees on a statement, right?
I mean, why would we look at that? And again, they also look at it because they love to run their math. I mean, I look at the people all the time that run this on the math right there without taking out any of the expenses, without showing it. And like Doug's even mentioned before on a previous podcast, if you take off right now and you're going to fly around the world, and if you get off just simply 1 degree, 1%, 1 degree, you're going to be 500, 400 or 500 miles off course from your landing in the exact same spot again.
Yeah.
And that's why so many people all of a sudden hit retirement and they start panicking like, wait a minute. This isn't what I thought it was. This isn't where I thought I was going to be.
Right.
And, and that's not a great place to want to be.
Yeah. We talked about this in another segment. Now, retirement accounts play a smoke and mirrors game where 1 year a statement will be up 40%, right? Or 1 year will be down 40%, I should say. And then the next year it'll be up 40%. And then people kind of go and they go, oh, I must be back up to break even. So I'm in good shape. I lost 40, I gained 40. This happened in 2008. Aaron, why is that not true? We talked about the loss-gain relationship in another segment, but why are losses a type of a hidden fee on people's accounts?
Well, I think the thing that people need to understand with losses and qualified accounts or in the market in general is, if you have $100,000 and back in like 2008, a lot of people lost 40. Let's just go 50% loss. Mm-hmm. So your account goes from 100,000 down to 50,000, a 50% loss. Well, next, the market turns around and starts to go back up. People don't realize that they have to have more than a 50% gain just to break even.
Right, because a 50% gain on 50,000, is that what you said? 50,000 is only 25,000.
Yeah,
so now they're back up to 75.
So if you do the math, you go back. What does 50,000 have to earn to just grow back up to break even? 100% return. So 50% loss has to be followed by 100% return just to break even.
Wow.
So you look at that, the fees in your accounts or the loss is just like those, like a huge fee if you think about it that way.
Yeah,
right.
like
Do I still have to pay that financial advisor when the market goes down?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's a double
on top
negative
of the loss.
So when I'm down, my financial advisor kicks me.
Yeah, it kicks you when you're down.
All right. Just making
Not
sure.
only that, he'll tell you not to touch, wait for it to come back up because
That's right. 'Cause
But you look at like what happened in 2008, market crashed like 40% in 1 year,
Right.
7 months really.
Yeah.
Then it took 4 years for it to get back to where it was 4 years earlier, or 5 years earlier. So it took 4 years of effort to get back to where it took 1 year to lose all that.
yeah,
crazy.
it's just amazing.
It's just
right.
not worth it in retirement.
And
It's
I
not worth
remember
the stress.
I remember seeing that in 2008. I remember seeing talking heads on the news saying in 2009 going, well, yeah, we lost 40%, but look, we're 40%, and literally just said, oh, we're back up. We're back. Do you remember that, Doug?
Yeah.
Doug, final word on this segment.
Yeah, it drove me crazy.
Yeah.
Now, a 40% loss has to be followed by a 67% gain.
Wow.
Let's talk about this 1%, though. sometimes you'll hear, I'm a fee-based fiduciary, so I'll be looking out for your best interest. Oh,
Yes.
really? Okay.
Right.
So they charge let's say 1% or more a year, whether they make money for you or not, as
Right.
Emron said. Okay.
Right.
So I did the math one time. Okay.
Yeah.
Now imagine this conversation with a realtor. Hey, Mr. Realtor, find me a $500,000 house. And okay. Now, what are your commissions? And the realtor goes, well, I'll either charge 6% one time, or else I'll charge you 1% on the value of that $500,000 home every year for the next 30 years.
How's it appreciate?
Yeah. What would you
That's
choose?
right.
Okay.
That's right.
See, if somebody repositions $500,000 into an IUL and it doubles every 7.5 to 10 years, okay, to $1 million to $2 million to $4 million to $8 million, okay, and this is what IUL can do. Now, I maybe got compensated $30,000, 6%, on the front money that went in. I never made one dime on what the IUL made thereafter. But an asset manager charging 1% a year from $500,000, if they really did grow that to $8 million,
Yes.
their 1% would add up to $980,000. An IUL is less than 5% of the costs and fees of an asset manager.
Right.
Other than that, I don't have any strong feelings on the subject, okay?
That's amazing, isn't it? That's
I was just
really
going to say,
interesting.
too, a fiduciary has a license now to lose your money.
Yeah, that's of course. Yeah, that's very, very true. All right, stick them up. How the government benefits more from your qualified plan than you do. We kind of touched on this, but let's kind of keep going into a deep dive on this. We talked about how Uncle Sam has a permanent tax lien on your IRA or 401k. Scott, first of all, how big of a fan of the government are you?
Last year I wasn't, but I'm starting to become more and more of a fan now as
As it
the
shrinks.
spending
Maybe
is-
getting a little bit
government-
more efficient?
A little more accountability.
Yeah, I'm liking that,
Possibly.
so.
All right. Okay. Hey, why? So in all seriousness, why is the government more than happy to let you, Scott, or anybody out there, listening, why let you manage and nurture your IRA or 401k over your lifetime? Why do they do that?
Yeah, they're letting you do all the hard work, and then they get to benefit on it down the road. Again, we've talked about it a little bit too much, but Uncle Sam is just waiting for that money to grow because, again, it's not yours, or part of it's not yours. I love when I ask people, do you have any money in IRAs or 401ks? And they say, yeah, I have 100,000. And I'll say, okay, so you have 70,000 in those retirement accounts. No, I said 100,000. Well, I know, but you only have 70,000 of that.
Right.
Because again, Uncle Sam's just sitting there rubbing his hands together, waiting for you to pull that money out later at a much bigger amount.
Yeah, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, it's just goes back to the government does have a vested interest in those. I mean, you think about how much money's in them and how they can just raise taxes a little bit and get that much more
right. They
out of the
could
client's account.
Dial in what they need when they need it.
Yeah, just like, hey, let's just turn up our portion, our ownership. Let's just turn it up,
Right.
get more taxes, get more money out of it. So it's just so refreshing with an IUL that they've got, that they don't have all their money in that basket. And they have some money here that they could take from if they need to.
Yeah.
If the market goes down, like we talked about, or if taxes go up, or if they have, and this is the thing, we're not telling you to put all your money. We're not
Right. saying
saying to put all your money into an IUL.
Right.
It's okay to still have some money taxable if you want. If you still want to pay some taxes,
Yeah.
it's fine. But nor should you take everything out. But it's like, and yeah, you got some matching on a 401k. That's fine. But really, in reality, you get to retirement. I can't just say it again. Clients that are the happiest are those that are taking money out tax free.
Tax-free. It's a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
And there's a reason why they only allow you to pull out a little bit as a Roth IRA or put a little bit in a Roth IRA.
Yeah.
It's limited to $7,000.
That's a good point.
There's a limit. Why? Because they still want to make a lot more later on.
That's such a good
Put
point.
as much as you can over into that account.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's so
And yeah,
good.
Just think about emergencies. Emergencies. We take a big chunk out of your 401k? No, you will not, because you'll bump up into higher brackets. You just don't have as much liquidity.
Yeah. That's good. Emron, thoughts?
I mean, it's simplified. Like we talk about the seed and the harvest.
Yes.
Does the government want to tax your seed, or do they want to tax your harvest? And we talk about the miracle of 93 million.
Yes.
Right? The government knows the miracle. They're trying to make sure you don't understand the miracle of compound interest.
Yes.
But I guarantee you, they know the miracle of compound interest. And therefore, they're trying to put in a position where they can steal and just cannibalize that compound interest out of your accounts.
Yeah, and if you don't know what 93 million is, watch our first show.
Amen.
Doug, final thoughts on this. Wrap us all up on this subject with Uncle Sam and his partnership.
Yeah,
with
absolutely. Because these qualified accounts, qualified with who? The government, okay?
Yes.
IRAs, 401ks are the best savings bond the government ever came up with for themselves, okay? So as we've been talking about, they have a permanent tax lien. And if they deem themselves more hard up than you, they can raise the rates and what have you. And so if you don't need the money, don't make the mistake thinking you're saving tax by continuing to defer, procrastinating to some future perceived unknown advantage. But that's what a lot of CPAs, you want to save tax this year. It's very myopic.
Right.
They're not saving you tax, they're compounding the tax. So you postpone to your 72, 73, take RMDs and string it out to your life expectancy and your spouse's life expectancy.
Right.
And then you pass it down to your non-spousal children. They have to pay the tax on it within 10 years.
Well, and some people take those RMDs and put them where? In taxable investments because they don't know what to do with them. And then they're taxed again when they do die.
So I would always look at my clients and I'd say, man, were you planning your retirement or Uncle Sam? Now,
Yes.
we recommend 40 to 60% of your retirement income not even show up on the front page of your 1040 tax return. The IRS will know you're receiving it,
Yeah.
but they know it's tax-free, not 100%, but, some people want 100%. Okay, that's okay. But, the IRAs and 401ks are a trap, and I have helped thousands of Americans free themselves from that tax trap, and they have been extremely grateful.
Again, if you're enjoying this content and are wondering how to take advantage of these ideas, at Laser Financial, we help individuals and families like yours implement proven strategies to grow and protect your wealth. Go to laserfinancial.com or call 801-505-0409 to schedule a free consultation and see how these strategies can work for you. That's laserfinancial.com or call 801-505-0409 to schedule a free consultation. Don't wait. Take the first step toward a brighter, more secure financial future today. This content also brought to you by IUL Insiders. If you're a financial professional tuning into the show, listening in, and you're wondering, how can I make this work for me and leverage IUL or Index Universal Life, join us for the three-day IUL Challenge. It's a free 3-day event designed specifically for financial professionals who want to master the art and science of IUL. Visit IULchallenge.com/93 to save your seat. Spots are limited, so don't wait. That's IULchallenge.com/93. Take your business to the next level. Okay, on to our next segment. Get me out of here. Finding tax-free alternatives to IRAs and 401ks. We often talk about IUL or Index Universal Life as an alternative to traditional retirement vehicles. Aaron, why can an IUL be very appealing as an alternative to these traditional vehicles like IRAs, 401ks that people use?
I would say, first and foremost, tax-free.
Yeah.
So just keep it simple right there. Tax-free, tax-free, tax-free is one of the main reasons that people come to us and to learn about these strategies is because they learn how they can compound and grow their money tax-free, safely, without risk, with a death benefit there to protect them, and being able to have liquidity in the early years. So I would say the most important thing is just the tax-free aspect versus and not having limitations on how much they put in. Because people say, well, what about a Roth?
Because a lot of people are looking at the national debt, right? We've talked about it's at 36 trillion plus, and it's growing, and so people just feel like they're going to raise taxes at some point, and I don't want to be caught, and so that's very appealing.
Yeah, they just want the tax-free aspect to not be trapped into a taxable situation.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, Scotty, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a little personal experience with this. Unfortunately, my dad passed away at the age of 64, right before he was ready to retire. But for my mother, it was great because within a couple of weeks, she got this tax-free money that was from his death benefit. And then it took 6 months or more to get money from his IRA 401ks.
Wow.
And so a little more of a personal experience, but I think these alternatives are so much nicer, easier. Just again, I've had clients that have died, and just having that death benefit pay out has been an important part. And we haven't even touched on that. Right?
Yeah, I was going to say, we haven't touched on the death benefit, but in reality, if the unexpected happens, we talk about the expected happening and we all live long and healthy lives, right, and all that. But if the unexpected happens, there's a huge amount of protection.
Yep.
That's a great point. Aaron.
Well, God, I think, you ask somebody who's ever been in like a real toxic relationship, and a lot of times they don't even know it. And and they're manipulated and everything like that. And then all of a sudden they get freed of that toxic relationship. And they're like, oh my God.
Where are you going with
I
this?
had
think
no
I have an
idea. I had no idea how bad this was until I was free. Well, that's exactly what we're talking about here. Get free of that, that toxic partnership. The government doesn't, if you believe that the government has your best interest at heart.
And they're spending your money wisely.
Yeah, stick right with those and put all of your money into those accounts. If not, that's where you can get out of that. Divorce that toxic relationship, reclaim your own future. I love it. I love it when I can take accountability and responsibility for my own future. Man, one, I feel now empowered. I'm not relying anymore. I'm independent and I'm empowered, and that feeling is freeing.
Yeah, and you talked about
liberating.
you talked about another show how taking control gives you peace of mind and safety.
It's liberating.
Yeah,
Gives you, lots of flexibility.
yeah, that's great. I love that word, flexibility. Yeah, Doug, as usual, why don't you wrap us up on this segment?
Okay, you know how old I am. Benjamin
Really
Franklin
old.
was a friend of mine. Okay, now reason why I bring up Benjamin Franklin, he used to say, in order to make a decision, you list the pros and the cons. Okay, so let's list 3 pros of a traditional IRA or 401k. Okay, you get to tax deduct IRA contributions or put in pre-tax dollars. Okay, it accumulates tax deferred.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you get possible matching. Maybe your employer, you put in 6 and they put in 3, and you think you're getting a 50% return. No, you're just starting out with 50% more. If you had $1, they matched it, you got $1.50. If you were vested and you pulled out that $1.50, your employer helped you cover the tax of 50 cents on that. That's all it is. You're going to earn whatever rate of return you're going to get. Well, what are the cons? Okay. The cons are it's fully taxed when you go to use it. Okay. Mm-hmm. You must use it up. That's the RMD. On the government's life expectancy formula, okay? And you're stretching it out. You're not saving tax. Hopefully you got that message. And number 3, it's potentially taxed twice upon passing to non-spousal heirs. Most CPAs and tax attorneys, when they finally think about it, they realize the worst place to leave your money when you die is in an IRA or 401k or the like for your kids to inherit. And so the cons far outweigh the pros of these IRAs or 401ks. When you could accumulate your money tax-free and you're immune from the danger of taxes going up, that's a great feeling. Yeah.
Like,
you pull out $100,000, you get to spend $100,000.
like the pie. I want pie now.
Yeah, sorry.
You want
My whole thing.
predictability in the time of life in your retirement years. That's when you need predictability
Yes.
the most.
Yeah.
And that's what tax-free retirement does for you. You gain predictability.
Yeah.
You're no longer you need that.
And when you're paying taxes, you get to benefit groups in Ecuador and Slovenia, Kazakhstan, places like that. You never knew you wanted to donate money to.
Exactly. Okay, just a reminder that if you enjoy this content and want to see more of it, please
Can I say this?
go ahead, Scotty.
Okay, in the words of Sammy Builders, a professional YouTuber, click and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications.
There you go. Thank you, Scotty. Well, that does it for today. Watch out for the trap of hidden fees, losses, and taxes that can turn your plan into a plop.
It's a trap.
You guys like that? It's a trap. Join us on our next show, and we wish you all the best in the 3 dimensions of your authentic wealth. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.